So here we are back in DaVinci Resolve, and I've got two pieces of footage that are standing in for pieces of footage that you might have. So on the lowest level, so I've got a pink solid color underneath. On the lowest level, I've got a file called background footage, which is my character Judge Schraber stood in the avatar position in the night market, and on top of that I've got this footage from Blackreach of him flipping a coin. So what we want to do is to isolate the avatar from the top footage and layer it over the top of the bottom footage. So we go into Fusion, and as before we've got the foreground and the media out, and we're going to drag the PNG that we've just created in Gimp, my mask, down into the nodes. I'm going to rename it using F2 mask, and then drag a line into the blue triangle, which is the effect mask input of the footage. Now you can see there's a problem. Nothing has changed. And if we bring up the mask on the left-hand viewer by pressing 1, you press 2 to bring something up on the right-hand viewer, you can see why. Up on the top it says that the mask is 4K, whereas this footage that I'm applying is only in 1280 by 720. So that I press Shift and Space to add a node, and I add in a resize node, and you can see it's automatically adjusted to 1280 by 720. And now on the right hand side, if I get rid of both monitors, you can see that the mask is now working fine because it's been resized to the video footage. However, as before, it's inverted, so I select the video node, go into settings, click apply mask inverted, and now it's working as we expected. It's just showing us the avatar from the foreground footage. If I go back into the edit page now, and it's always a good idea to do this, to apply this fusion process before you do any editing. So say for example in your weekly vendor videos, you might put 2 copies of the same footage on top of each other, and on the top layer, the upper layer, apply the fusion node with the mask to isolate the avatar. That means then you'll always have the kind of default footage underneath, and you can layer in the isolated transparent avatar on top of it. Then you can chop it up into cuts. So here you can see the avatar of him flipping the coin from Blackreach is being layered on top of the footage from Night Market. And then you can just chop up the avatar footage and rearrange it in any way you like, and you've always got the background footage underneath, and anything that the avatar says or does visually will just layer on top. Notice when it's static, you can see lots of little green dots around the outline. Don't worry about that. That's usually a function of DaVinci's display mode. Usually when you're editing something, you display it in a lower resolution than the final output will be. So long as the green dots disappear once you play it, as they are now, you're all good. So if you see green dots kind of around it, that's usually because you're not playing the file. It's an artifact of DaVinci Resolve's display. It won't be there in the final version. So you can then chop up the isolated version and rearrange it in any way, and that will just sit on top of whatever footage you've got underneath. Of course, you'll have to separate out the audio channels. Again, it would probably be a good idea if you're going to import 2 versions of the same raw footage to unlink the bottom version and delete its audio, so you only have 1 audio track. So you've only got 1 audio track linked to the isolated transparent avatar footage. Now, it's really worth learning Fusion. It's a really, it does look intimidating, but it's a really powerful and fairly intuitive system. So for instance, here I selected the avatar's footage, and I've pressed shift space to add in a new node, and I've added a color corrector node. So I've increased the saturation, I've turned it bright green, and when I go back to the edit page, only that bit has had its color changed. The rest of the footage is all in its original color, and there's just loads more that you can do in that Fusion page. Plenty of tutorial videos on YouTube showing you how to use Fusion nodes, and I really encourage you to explore them because they're really great.